At the beginning of the story, we see a girl named Lisa vacationing in Mexico with her sister, Kate. Lisa has recently broken up with her boyfriend, but hasn't told Kate yet. The sisters are enjoying their time exploring Mexico, but one night, while they're sleeping at the hotel, Kate wakes up to find Lisa crying outside. When Kate asks her what's wrong, Lisa reveals that her boyfriend broke up with her because he got bored of her. Lisa explains, "He said, I'm not as fun as I used to be." She admits that the reason she came on this trip was to find happiness again and feel like her old self. Kate, wanting to cheer Lisa up, takes her to a party to lift her spirits. At the party, the sisters meet two local friends while dancing. The group quickly bonds and has a lot of fun together. The new friends suggest an adventurous activity for the next day, diving into a shark cage to see sharks up close. They promise it's an exciting experience and talk about the beauty of the underwater world. Kate is immediately interested, but Lisa hesitates due to her fear of sharks. Kate encourages her, saying, "It'll be so much fun, and no one will ever call you boring again." Reluctantly, Lisa agrees after much persuasion. The next morning, the sisters meet their new friends, who introduce them to the captain. The captain takes the group on a small boat to an old, rusty vessel in the middle of the sea. On board, they find a shark cage, which is tied to a cable that can lower it deep into the water. The captain's assistant throws dead fish into the water to attract sharks. Soon, a massive, terrifying shark appears, and Lisa becomes visibly frightened. She tells Kate that she doesn't want to go into the cage, but Kate reassures her, saying, "We'll have so much fun together and even take photos. When your ex sees them, he'll know you're not boring." Finally, Lisa agrees. The two local friends are the first to go into the cage. While they're underwater, the captain explains how the scuba gear works to Lisa and Kate, including the oxygen meter, which shows how much oxygen is left. He also advises them to breathe slowly, as rapid breathing can deplete their oxygen supply quickly. The captain provides radios so they can communicate with him and each other if needed. The friends return from their dive, thrilled by the experience. Seeing their excitement, Lisa and Kate muster the courage to take their turn. They put on their scuba gear, take a camera, and step into the cage. The cage is locked, and they are slowly lowered into the water. At first, they're surrounded by clear water and colorful fish, but no sharks. Then, suddenly, a shark appears, and the sisters are both terrified and excited. They take pictures of the shark, but during the commotion, the camera slips from their hands and sinks into the depths. Things take a dangerous turn when the cable holding the cage begins to slip, causing the cage to jerk downward. Lisa panics and pleads with the captain to bring them back to the surface. Kate, however, wants to stay a little longer. Finally, the captain starts pulling the cage back up, but disaster strikes. The cable snaps, and the crane attached to the boat breaks. The cage plummets to the ocean floor, taking the sisters 47 meters, 154 feet, below the surface. Trapped at the bottom of the sea, the sisters panic. Lisa is especially terrified, but Kate tries to calm her down. Due to the depth, they're out of the radio's communication range and can't contact the captain. To make matters worse, the crane has fallen on top of the cage, blocking the door. They realize they're running out of oxygen and must escape before it's too late. Kate decides to leave the cage to find a way to signal for help, but the crane is blocking the door and she can't move it. Determined, she squeezes through the cage bars, but her oxygen mask gets stuck. In a risky move, she removes the mask, slips through, and quickly puts it back on once she's outside the cage. Using all her strength, Kate begins pushing the crane off the cage door. After much effort, she manages to move it just enough to free the door. Exhausted, Kate starts floating upward to reconnect with the boat. Kate swims up to the surface, where she manages to contact the captain on the radio. She informs him that they are trapped 47 meters below, and that both sisters are safe for now. The captain assures her that he'll send his partner with a cable to bring the cage back on board. However, he warns Kate to stay in the cage due to the danger of sharks. Relieved to hear help is on the way, Kate returns to the cage and informs Lisa about the plan. Kate also advises Lisa to conserve oxygen, as instructed by the captain. Both sisters feel hopeful, talking to each other to ease their nerves. Suddenly, they see a torchlight in the distance. Assuming it's the captain's partner, Lisa decides to swim out and bring him to the cage quickly, knowing their oxygen is running low. Despite the danger, Lisa leaves the cage. As she swims towards the torch, a massive shark attacks her. Panicked but determined, Lisa manages to evade the shark and hides in a small rocky cave. The shark tries to reach her, but eventually gives up and swims away. Once the coast is clear, Lisa continues toward the torchlight. When she finally reaches the torch, she realizes the captain's partner is nearby. However, just as she spots him, the shark attacks and kills him. Horrified, Lisa hides again, watching the man's lifeless body float nearby. She notices the cable he brought to connect to the cage and, summoning her courage, retrieves it. Lisa swims back to the cage and connects the cable to its top. She radios the captain to inform him that the cable is attached, but his partner didn't survive. Saddened by the news, the captain advises Lisa to return to the cage so they can be pulled up. Once back in the cage, the captain begins lifting them. As the cage ascends, both sisters feel a wave of relief, thinking they are finally safe. However, when they are just 20 meters from the surface, the cable snaps again, and the cage plummets back to the sea floor. This time, Lisa's leg becomes trapped under the cage. Kate desperately tries to free Lisa's leg, but cannot. With only a few minutes of oxygen left, Kate decides to swim back to the surface to inform the captain. She explains their dire situation. The captain promises to send an oxygen tank, but warns Kate that using a second tank at this depth can cause nitrogen narcosis, leading to hallucinations. He also informs her that the Coast Guard will arrive in about an hour, urging her to hold on until then. Kate returns to the cage just as the captain sends an oxygen tank down. Kate swims to retrieve it, but her oxygen runs critically low on the way. She manages to reach the tank and replaces her cylinder, also finding some flares to deter sharks. However, as she heads back to the cage, a shark attacks her, killing her instantly. The oxygen tank falls near the cage. Lisa, devastated by her sister's death, musters her strength and retrieves the oxygen tank. She replaces her depleted cylinder, giving herself more air. Suddenly, she hears Kate's voice on the radio. To her shock and relief, Kate is still alive but severely injured. Lisa frees her trapped leg, opens the cage door, and swims to her sister, finding her bleeding heavily from a badly injured leg. Determined to save Kate, Lisa helps her swim to the surface. She informs the captain of their plan, but he warns them to ascend slowly to avoid decompression sickness. He instructs them to pause midway for 5 minutes to allow nitrogen to leave their bodies safely. As they ascend, Lisa uses flares to fend off the shark. At the halfway point, they stop as instructed. When they resume swimming, Lisa tries to light another flare, but it slips from her hand and falls into the water. Now Lisa is on her last hope. Lisa lights the flare, revealing 4 or 5 sharks circling around them. The sisters panic, but try to scare the sharks away with the flare. As the last flare burns out, they quickly remove their masks and cylinders, swimming desperately toward the surface. Just as they are about to reach the boat, a shark grabs Lisa's leg. She frantically scrapes at the shark's nose with her fingers, and it finally lets go. Exhausted and terrified, the sisters somehow manage to climb aboard the boat. Suddenly, the scene shifts. Lisa hears the captain's voice but realizes she is still trapped in the cage, her leg stuck. It becomes clear that ever since she started breathing from the new oxygen cylinder, Lisa had been suffering from nitrogen narcosis, causing vivid hallucinations. In reality, Lisa had died from a shark attack while Kate was retrieving the oxygen cylinder. Lisa's hallucination shows her on the captain's boat, happily talking to Kate. She laughs hysterically, thinking they are finally free. However, the captain's voice on the radio interrupts her, warning her that she is hallucinating. Just then, the Coast Guard arrives and rescues Lisa from the cage. She regains consciousness on the surface, but tears stream down her face as she realizes Kate did not survive. The movie ends with Lisa mourning her sister's loss. Friends, if you were in Lisa and Kate's situation, would you have had the courage to escape the cage? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. See you in the next one. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.